Master Grade Gundam X. Hey, what's up again, everybody? It's Robert, 184, 2 R's, 2 B's, Gundam.tk, and it's after war, and you've seen the unbox, the plates, and the individual parts and weapons, all of which were fun to put together and are looking pretty sharp. But at the same time, it's not about the build, it's not about the parts, it's not about the weapons, until it all gets put together. So let's see how the long-awaited Master Grade Gundam X looks when it's all snap-fit together. And when he's all put together, or vultured together, I've got to say that this guy looks absolutely perfect, and that's even without his best feature on. Look at the simplicity of the lining there all over the body. The simple blue boots, the purple is going to be looking fantastic, especially when it's rotating around and directly in your line of sight. But the details that are going to be worked into that upper body, the back's going to be hidden, so don't worry about it, but that purple, the gray up in the shoulders down there, the blue cuffs, the hands, and that chest, you can just see that green glowing if you catch it in the right light. But the blue and the red, the yellow, the gray, everything in short order combined with a fantastic head sculpt and just a very jaunty angle there for the shoulders. This guy is looking very cool, even if he is going to end up divided. But now it's time to attach what we've all been waiting for, the shoulder Vulcan. But when he's all put together, and even shielded for bear there, the colors from the front are still going to be popping. Those shoulders are going to be a little bit less outstanding because look at that backpack. Does it scream X? Well, no. I mean, it's going to be interesting there, top and bottom. But that X is just coming and it's going to be even more exciting. But sometimes it's the simplicity of it all that's great. I love those details of the gray parts there that are going to be attached onto the fins. However, it is going to be just a little bit awkward to get everything lined up at just the right angle. I'm talking forward, back, twisting. Not going to take, it's very, when I say it needs a little bit of patience, compared to some other kits and their wonky ankles, hips, waists, etc. This one is going to take very little effort. But once you get it there, he's going to be looking sharp, and that colorful chest is needed because there is a lot of white to be seen when you see him from the front. And unfortunately, I got to say that the minute I set him up, I said, great! The waist is holding. He's not going to be too back heavy. And then he just went dropping backwards. But to focus on the positives, I mean, he looks fantastic. So though it seems from the start that I'm destined to hate this waist section flopping all over the place, let's see the rest of the mobility. Front skirt's up very well. You can see the kick there, that fantastic knee bend with the white split there. You can see that the ankles are going to be moving nicely. The foot is going to move incredibly well forward and back. The toes, the heels, everything is looking majestic as he leaps into the Great Divide. Though full ballerina splits are not going to be in the cards, the skirts only want to go up about 45 there on the side, and the legs, call it 55, whatever you want. Let's see that upper body. Which, is this going to be a kit killer? He's just flopping around like a fish floundering all over the place. Thank you, Bandai, for giving us a number of moving parts, and then no thank you for giving him an asymmetrical heavy weight load. That's just going to make him go back. We've seen it with the new. You can fix that with the double fin funnels if you want. He's still going to be flopping backwards. This guy, you can deploy it over the shoulder. It's going to bring the problems that way, although the weight will come a little bit more forward. Just hugely problematic, and it's the kind of thing, is it worth paint or gluing? I wonder. Anyway, I'm hoping you're going to have some better luck. In terms of the shoulders themselves, incredible. Look at this, the way you can have the arm come across. You could reach apart across the cockpit hatch there and actually have him touch the other shoulder. He could reach back there, adjust the Vulcans on the shoulder, and grab the beam sword if this was the proper hand. The head is going to be rocking forward, funky chicken style. The cockpit hatch is going to be opening, as long as you're just a little bit careful with it. And if you saw the part before, you saw that this is going to have a lot of moving options as you get to both spin this bar around and tons of moving parts on this gray arm underneath. Not to mention the different plug-and-play options there all around. You're not going to win any height comparisons like that, though, Garrod. Is this going to be detracting from the whole review? I wonder, but what I've done here is I'm just cheating with a satellite cannon. It's going to be propping him up like an old man's cane back there. Seems to be the only way he's going to be standing up until I figure out exactly what to get wedged under there so that he's not going to be collapsing all over the place. Now, angry ranting aside, this is something I've been looking forward to the whole time since I put the kit together. The size and the height comparison here, because I should have mentioned in my initial impressions on the spin, I thought this guy was huge when he actually got put together in terms of height. Bandai in the 90s decided to go small, V1, V2, and we saw it with Shining God and the Wing Boys, but Turn A, of course, turned it all around. But the X and the DX are going to be at the low end in terms of height for the Gundams, but I just thought that this guy was absolutely massive. The shoulders are going to be sort of offsetting, or giving you that impression, as they are as tall as the V-fin there. And when you put on the satellite cannon, though, this guy's, there's not many who's going to be beating him for height. But when you see the Master Grade 3.0 Amuro's original, you just get to see some of that old blockiness compared to 15 years on sleekness with this guy. But it seems like Bandai actually got the height proportion just right for this 1/100th. And though one's doing pointed toes here, it looks like the wing is going to be stretched out even further in terms of height. An impressive backpack on this guy. How great was it to see all of these guys together in final mission? But again, the edge and height is going to go to that half a Twisted X. And oh, what an appropriate height difference here. The new Gundam version KA, and this is titanium. But Bandai, just look at this guy leaning back there. The X, cheating and propping himself up over there. If you're going to be putting on heavy backpacks and making it asymmetrical, perhaps we don't need as many moving parts in the waist section and the ankles. And as we move into posing, it's probably not going to be the last time that I'm going to be complaining about it. But in terms of looks and size, just right there. Well done, Garrod and X. For posing, once you start moving the legs into a more active pose, the balance is still going to be a problem, though not as problematic as a straight stand there. But here you can see the shield buster looking all right in terms of a rifle. Not going to be standing out all that much, though he does look good looking down the barrel, and the shoulders are going to be moving very well in terms of dynamic poses. And he can do a very good job of reaching back with his right hand and getting the big beam sword out there. The shield has definitely grown on me. That black part is fantastic. The lack of details in the front doesn't seem to bother me. Should have had the scope up before. But it's going to be looking good, if a little bit small in hand. But the oversized electricity shooting out all over the place there, and the big beam sword is going to make up for it. This guy is getting colorful, and you don't want to get close in melee. And to make him even more dynamic and hopefully negate some of the problems with that waist there, they do give you've got a regular attachment point for down below, but here you can attach this into the backpack and you can get ready to turn it into a hovercraft with the help of an action base 1. And this is the kind of thing where I think being on the rotating base is somewhat of a disservice to it. I actually think this hover mode is pretty cool. One of the fun things for me is when you're playing Gundam vs. Gundam is just watching the Gundams both step and boost all over the place and getting to see exactly where the thrusters are going to be blasting out of. Of course, we've got the divider right now and not this guy, but at the same time, the legs coming down, sure enough, all the weight problems are going to be gone. They can support their own weight now that all the weight is going to be coming from the upper body down onto the stand. The ankles are going to get very nicely positioned there. You can move the head around all over the place. The shield and beam are going to be looking good. And though the shininess is all going to be hidden in the back, and it looks a little bit awkward to have the satellite cannon sitting on top of the base, from the front, this is the kind of thing where you may actually want to display it, and it is going to be giving you the trademark X. But maybe I'm just kidding myself that somebody would display it in hover mode, because we all know that the true star is shoulder Vulcan forward mode. And while it took a lot of twisting, I think I finally got those lined up correctly there on the back. This is why I wanted the Master Grade Gundam X, and I'm sure I'm not alone. And I think that this guy pulls it off majestically. First of all, the ability just to reach back and grab that, I could stick that back on, is great. This gray part pulling forward is going to be looking fantastic. And how about this? The fact that the arms and the shoulders can move oh so well means that grip took zero effort to put inside. I actually kept it in hand, detached the backpacks, flipped everything around, got everything in the right place finally, and no problems, no complaints whatsoever, all while I put an action base. Very impressive the way that the upper body is going to be responding when you remove the constraints of standing on the ground like gravity. Maybe Char was right, but how about the overall looks? I gotta say, I do miss the silver. The clear part here is going to be standing out, but I don't see it on the camera here, but I do see it in the room, especially turning around, that the light is going to be catching it. You're going to see some rainbow effect there on the inside. Could be a little bit gaudier, but at the same time, the proportions, the size, the look, staring down the barrel, All he needs is 100 or so, or how many GX bits were there? 10, 15, 2, 5, depending on which incarnation of the game you're playing. But this guy, ready for war, and ready for your shelf, I'd imagine. So is he perfect? Alas, I have to report that no. In terms of some of the bigger problems, the purple doesn't stand out here. This shield rifle, well, it just wants to fall apart occasionally, not attaching on all that well. The big issues, make sure that you put these on properly, follow the directions, and you'll be fine. The cockpit hatch has popped off a couple times on me just over the course of the video. But overall, the positives are going to be far outweighing the negatives if you get him up in the air. The fact that he's going to be standing there on the ground and then going, back is exactly what I was afraid of from the minute I put together that complicated lower waist section with all these moving parts. Sure enough, it came true. But overall, everything else is great. The colors from the unbox, the packaging is good. When you open it up, you're going to be getting so many options. The extra manipulators, the teeny tiny Garrod, perhaps chalk a Tifa, the not being there as a negative. It's probably going to get fixed in the future. Jamil, you'd think in the near future as well. But overall, just the options. This is fun in hand as a shield. I can't believe that I actually might even use it, thanks to that drop-down option there. The big beam sword is looking fantastic, but overall, just the menacing face, the shoulders, the colors, the popping, the posing, and the satellite cannon. And even that hovering mode is a lot of fun, and I can't wait. This is the kind of guy, if you were up for a multiple posing kind of display, getting 2 or 3 on display, this guy may be up there in terms of the top of the list. In terms of consideration, he just looks good in all of the poses once you get him off those wobbly ground. So for the future, I've been talking with near certainty about the divider. We got the HG in short order. Mao, yes, and Build Fighters seems to be getting them out not in 1/100th, but just utilizing existing MGs. The GX bit, I think, is going to be the big question. And of course, the one down the line, when will we get the DX? Will it be before the V2? The V2AB and all its variations. G-Falcon, is it possible or not? Would you buy it? Head over to gundam.tk and vote which ones you would buy if they're available. And anyway, just love to hear your thoughts about this kit, my thoughts on it. Is yours staying together better than mine? I'd love to hear your thoughts with a comment down below. I've been waiting for this kit for years and years. It's here. It looks great. It's got all the options that you'd want. If they had just done a little better on that one important job, I'd be over the moon, or under it, or in its rays, or getting blasted by it. You get the idea. Pleased as punch, you could say, outside of that one big problem. But this guy, for looks, get him up on an action base here with that special mount, and you can forget all your troubles. Anyway, everybody, thanks again for watching, and stick around for lots more news, reviews, and everything else you can use. Till all our MGs. See ya. There's the hull of collapsed, not quite standing up Gundams. I hope this guy doesn't have to join them for too long.